I'm here with Dr. Robert Ostfeld today at the Montefiore Clinic, and he is the Director of Preventive Cardiology and the founder of the Cardiac Wellness Program at Montefiore. He's Associate Professor of Clinical Medicine at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. He earned his master's in epidemiology from Harvard, and he got his MD from Yale, and he's board certified in internal medicine. My gosh. What happens when you go to the games, like for Harvard, Yale? Who do you root for? Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, first, thank you for that incredibly generous introduction. And it's so interesting going to those games because, like, the big thing with those games is the tailgating. And
Right.
there's just, so you've got like the class of like 2010, like, I don't know, doing headstands with kegs. And then you have the class of like 1948 sitting like right next to them with champagne and caviar. So it's like the most interesting. And I my allegiance is with Yale because I went to med school there, so
Okay.
I just at the Yale Harvard game
All
I
right. It's
leaned to
out
Yale.
now. It's out. Well, thank
Yeah,
you so much for being here today. So, tell me, how did you start your cardiac wellness program?
the real short story is I just wanted to get people better,
Yeah.
and so I was so lucky. I got to train with just really incredible people along the way. It's like 11 years, medical school, residency,
Hmm.
fellowship, master's, 11 years of training, and learned all kinds of amazing stuff about medications and procedures and everything. But I learned virtually nothing about nutrition. So,
I knew
okay,
that
so
was
I
coming.
finish up. Yeah, totally. So, and it's unfortunately it's par for the course, but times are changing. And so, I come down to Montefiore to start to work, everything I'm trained to do, and including, a Mediterranean style diet, which I couldn't really define, but
Hmm.
I knew that was somewhat healthy. And actually, if you told me about plant-based nutrition when I had just finished up my fellowship, I frankly would have thought it was weird. And so I do all that stuff, and people, they get a little bit better. And that's great, but there's not like transformational change. Like I didn't go into medicine to get people just a little bit better, and the disease just kept on progressing. Like it's a stent, and then it's a heart attack, and then it's bypass surgery, then it's heart failure, and it just kept on going. Like
Right.
nobody was like reversing. So I'm like, all right, this is kind of lame. So I was right around that
Right.
time that I stumbled across the China study, and I read it, was really taken by it. And I said, I went over to my chief, Dr. Mario Garcia, and I said, look, I'd like to start a wellness program, our cardiac wellness program with the goal of preventing and reversing disease with a plant-based diet. And he said, okay. And so that was basically my carte blanche to start it.
Wow.
And yeah, so then now 5, 6 years later, we're going strong. So it's just
Well,
been great.
so describe this cardiac program. It's amazing. I know I've been there, so yeah, but
Oh well,
share for us.
sure. Well, you're very generous, and it has multiple parts now. But we've got so the first part was the outpatient component of the program. So like if you go schedule an appointment with your doc and go in to see your internist or pediatrician, whatever, same kind of thing. So people come to see me in clinic, and I've got 40 minutes of the new patient, 20 minutes of the follow-up, and I'll do all the usual stuff, history, physical, medications. But then I weave plant-based nutrition into
Hmm.
virtually every patient visit. And
Yeah.
I talk about how, we can make you so much healthier, that it's really a partnership between the patient and me. And I'll discuss how plant-based nutrition can particularly impact whatever disease issue they may or may not have. And I try to focus it on, are they going to are they want to walk their kid down the aisle? Do they want to
Hmm.
go to a reunion and like look really good or whatever their particular interest may be? I try to weave it into that.
Well, that's their
And so
why. You've got to have the
ex-
why.
exactly, I try to find their why. And so then we talk about, don't eat anything with a face. And I go into exactly what I want them to do. I ask them to eat 3 servings of green leafy vegetables a day, 3 servings of fruit a day, 3 servings of other vegetables. I have handouts that go through this in some detail. And so we go through that all in the first visit. We set some specific goals. Usually it's a weight loss goal.
Hmm.
Now, weight loss is not the goal of the program. It's just a nice side effect of eating this way. And the majority of our patients do need to lose
Yeah.
some weight. So it's just such an easy metric to follow. So I can maybe they'll come back every 6 weeks or so. We'll just check a weight as some accountability. And on top of that, we have these periodic Saturday morning sessions.
Hmm.
They're about 4 hours long, and we take a deep dive into the how and why of plant-based nutrition. I speak, and our D. Lauren Graff speaks. We serve lunch that's whole food plant-based. We encourage patients to come with a friend or significant other to help them along the path. And I work here in the Bronx, and it's an incredible population. It's all usually one of, or not the least healthy inner city in the whole U.S. in these various rankings. And there's also a very large indigent patient population here. About 85% of the patients from the Bronx who come to the Montefiore health system are in some degree of public support. So I want to democratize this information. So our Saturday morning sessions, I don't charge patients for it. I fund it all through donations. So
Awesome.
that's been great. And so then, patients we follow up over time. And I've seen some of the most incredible patient turnarounds you've ever seen. People avoiding bypass surgery, avoiding stents, coming off multiple medications, like literally crying tears of joy in my office. They feel so much better. Um, and it's even, so a lot of the patients that I'll talk to, they grew up here in the Bronx, and plant-based nutrition has not really percolated
Hmm.
down into the Bronx too much. And so when I mention plant-based nutrition to them, the first time I'm meeting them, they frankly look at me like I'm from Mars. Like they've never heard of this. And so it can sometimes be a steep climb, but we work with them to get there. And now
Hmm.
many patients who I met just in that same context have now had some of our most incredible
Right.
turnarounds. So
Well,
that's been incredibly satisfying.
I know, like coming from Central and South America, a lot of the people that come from Central and South America had a plant-based diet to begin with. But when they got to the US, they
Right.
start taking they become the SAD diet, and they lose that plant-based diet and then gain the sicknesses that go along with it. So, well, we're
Yeah. Welcome
doing
to America,
yeah,
huh?
right, right. So we're doing if we I have a Facebook group and we're doing these 10-day challenges. They're called plant-based. Your town, we've got about 25 towns now. And we're doing 10-day challenges based upon Dr. McDougall maximum weight loss. So 10 days on and then 4 days off, not go have a burger off, but to, might have a little bit higher caloric density in terms of the plant-based world. But this is to try and help people that are trying to reverse, health issues or lose weight, side effect. So in preparation, we've got a range of people starting this from newbies to people who've been McDougalling for a while but just need to lose some weight. So what in preparation for a 10-day challenge, what advice can you give to a person?
Well, I mean, like I think what you said is great. What is your why? And really tap into that. Do you have do you want to try to reverse your diabetes, come off your blood pressure medications? Do you want to lose weight to fit into your favorite outfit again? Whatever your particular why is, do you want to live longer for your family, for your kids? Really focus on that, and be it's very different. And if you haven't been living this way, like when you make any kind of change is different, and it takes a little while to get your sea legs and to just get used to the routines of life. Like maybe before, everyone's busy, maybe you can make your breakfast in like 3 minutes, but now maybe it takes you 9 minutes, and that just seems like so much. And just know that's a
Right.
little bit of a process to get from here to there, and you can
There's a
wake
learning
up.
curve.
Exactly. And you will wake up, if you really do this, you can wake up in 6 weeks. A, you'll have gone through a large portion of the learning curve, but B, you'll be exquisitely healthier. So it's kind of like a
A
win
win-win.
win. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So I'd be,
easily. And I do a lot of batch cooking on the weekends. I know you don't batch cook at your house, but I do at mine. So I prepare a
no
whole
cooking at my
bunch.
house.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've talked about that. But at my
Yeah,
house, I have an Instant Pot going pretty much all weekend, cooking rice or potatoes or beans in some way, shape, or form. And I have them cooked and in the refrigerator and ready to pull out for the week. So I'm prepping salads, I'm prepping vegetables to use like carrots or celery, things like that, or Persian cucumbers as snacks. So I have that ready. So Monday morning, I open the refrigerator, pull things out, and I'm off. So I carry my food
that's
and I take it
perfect.
with me. Yep. So that's one of the easiest ways is to get people transitioning and doing batch cooking and things like that. So what changes can a person see in 10 days?
So you can see a lot. And I'm talking about whole food, plant based, and largely limited or no oil. And when you embrace that, the things
Hmm.
that I'll typically see is even within a week, people will feel thinner.
Right.
Their clothes will be a little bit looser. I don't really have the weight loss numbers because I don't check weight that quickly, but people will
Hmm.
feel thinner. The clothes will be looser. They very quickly say they have more energy and they sleep better.
Yeah.
And even within a week, if they're on blood pressure medications, I will sometimes get a call that they're feeling lightheaded.
Hmm.
And that is usually because we're starting to make them so healthy that they don't need as many blood pressure medications anymore.
Right.
So I'll
Right.
often get that call and then we'll like lower blood pressure medication doses. So usually it's more sleep or say better sleep, more energy, feeling thinner, and maybe a little lightheaded if they're already on blood pressure medications.
Okay. Well, would you recommend somebody when they're first starting to do a 10-day challenge, first of all, to do blood work or biometrics?
Yeah, so I think that's interesting stuff to track and could be very motivating for a person. So, from a motivation standpoint, I think that's great. Checking a fasting cholesterol level, your blood pressure, your weight, um, and that's usually what I go with. I don't get too fancy with the testing because
Hmm.
most of the time it's not going to really impact what I encourage patients to do. But I do think that's helpful because it's nice, it's one thing to say, I feel better, but it's another thing to say, I feel really better. I've lost 15 pounds. My cholesterol fell 25%.
Right.
And, I'm now on half the medications I was. There's more power in that.
Well,
So
and
yeah, I think it's a
seeing
great
those
idea.
changes, yeah, seeing those changes. I mean, because as you pointed out, like if you're on blood pressure medications too, you're starting to see these changes, and it's good to know, and keep track of these kinds of changes. I mean, they should be in contact with their doctor and let their doctor know about that they're
Oh yeah,
starting this. I mean, do you recommend that?
absolutely. I 100% recommend that they do it with their doctor's awareness and them following them for a number of reasons. Let's see. Well, first, many doctors, unfortunately, just don't know about it.
Right.
So this would be a great way to help educate them about it. Another reason is because there are a handful of situations where you have to be very careful about changing your diet. And
Hmm.
so if someone is on Coumadin, a powerful blood thinner that's used
Right.
in a handful of situations like atrial fibrillation, if you start eating a heck of a lot more green leafy vegetables, your Coumadin level will fall and your blood won't be as thin. And that could put you at some significant risk. Now, you can absolutely eat green leafy vegetables and take Coumadin and get. And I want my patients to have the benefits of both. I want them to have the
Right.
benefits of the Coumadin they need and the green leafy vegetables. But you need to do that carefully under the care of a doc because if you
Right.
shift your diet around, your Coumadin level may change. So you have to be on top of that because you don't want to put yourself at undue risk. So
Right.
that's an important one. If you're on insulin for
Hmm.
your diabetes, uh, when you eat this way, your insulin requirements may fall pretty quickly because you're getting so healthy so fast. And so it's important that your doc knows that, or at least you know that you can adjust your insulin dose level as needed, and to know the symptoms and treatment of low blood sugar, because it's
Right.
possible that it's tough to get that landing just right. So if you're sweaty, a little out of it, shaky, that may be low blood sugar. Then you do want to have a little orange juice or something sugar because that could save your life. The other situation is if you have some degree of advanced kidney disease and or high potassium, because
Right.
eating this way does have more potassium than a typical American diet. And eating
Right.
this way is obviously overwhelmingly healthy. But in that very narrow slice of people who have brittle potassium levels and it runs kind of high and their kidneys are not able to excrete it well, they could raise their potassium levels to a dangerous level. Now, the situations that we just talked about are few and far between,
Right.
and the overwhelming majority of the population, of course, is going to benefit from this. But it is useful to do it
Right.
with your doctor's approval because there's a small handful of situations where it could be a concern.
Exactly. So your doctor needs to know that you're changing what's going into your body, so because it's going to have a huge impact within.
Yes.
So yeah, but and also there's a great website, drmcdougall.com. He's got a tremendous amount of information that you can print out. He's got, if you just go to the search bar and type in whatever your issue or health concern is, he most likely will have a newsletter that you could print out and take to your doctor and show them, and start helping them to become aware of the changes that can happen with a plant-based diet. A lot of people defend oil and say that you're going to need it for your body to function properly. So what should you
Yeah.
say to people when oh my
Yeah.
God, your brain needs to have fats. Don't you know that? I hear that
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, we're not like a car. We don't need to be greased up. But so what I say, I prefer my patients to not have oil,
Hmm.
and I'll explain why. So the first of all, like to get olive oil, you take a perfectly good olive, you suck out all the fat, you leave behind all the phytonutrients, all the fiber, and
Right.
what you have is simply, as you know, a pile of fat. And it probably takes 40 or 50 olives to make a tablespoon of olive oil. And that's about 120 calories per tablespoon. And now you see how people put dressing on
Oh
or
my
oil
God.
on a salad. They're like, "Zzz."
Yeah.
That's like hundreds and hundreds of calories.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, okay, so then it's almost devoid of nutrients. And in addition to that, we know from studies, particularly from Dr. Vogel, that olive oil can worsen acutely blood vessel function. He fed people a salad
Hmm.
and he looked at their blood vessel function. And after they ate a salad, their blood vessel function, not surprisingly, improved. But then he fed that same group of people a salad with olive oil on top, and their blood vessel function didn't improve anywhere near as much. It's as if the olive oil worsened the beneficial impact of the salad.
So it made your blood
So,
like sludge.
well, what it made the endothelial cells function less healthfully. That of course that goes away after a few hours, and then anecdotally speaking, for my patients, when they also give up oil, they're the ones who have the most obscene turnarounds you've ever seen. And in Dr. Esselson's great case series of about 200 people, and the ones who adopted the healthy lifestyle, which included no oil, had incredible results. So it's a combination of the incredible caloric density, almost devoid of nutrients, the worsening of blood vessel function, and then
Hmm.
a good bit of clinical experience, some published, where patients do so much better, including a diet without olive oil. Now, omega-3 fats are important, and we need fat.
Right.
This is not a no-fat diet. And what I encourage my patients to do is to take 2 heaping tablespoons of hemp seeds, chia seeds, or flaxseed meal
Hmm.
each day, toss it in their oatmeal, their salad, whatever. Some patients will be eating, raw nuts, avocado as well, which has healthy fats in it. So there are all kinds of ways to get it. Like have the olive, don't have the olive oil.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Another one that I hear all the time is, I'm going to be protein deficient. Where am I going to get my protein?
Yeah, we're all dropping dead here of protein deficiency. It's a well kept secret by the vegan or plant based community. So it's good for you to shine a light on that.
Hmm.
As you know, the world's strongest man is vegan,
Yes.
and his name, as you know, is Patrick Baboumian, which is of course the perfect name to have if you are the strongest man in the world. And he got this title by carrying 1,200 pounds, about 15 meters.
Right.
That's like a Mini Cooper down Fifth Avenue. It's like ridiculous. And he is plant based. He's vegan.
Right.
Gorillas and elephants are big, right? Well, they eat plants. We don't need more protein than them. There are NFL football players, ultimate fighters, ultra athletes
Right.
who are plant based. And so, as long as you're meeting your caloric requirements,
Right.
and by that I mean you're not hungry all the time. If you're hungry, eat more, just more of the good stuff. Now you'll find, like, if when you shift to eat this way, it's incredibly nutrient dense, but not as calorically dense. So you may have to eat a little bit more
Hmm.
than you had before. But if you're hungry, eat more, just more of the good stuff. So if you're doing that, you don't have to worry about protein for one moment. Now, I guess if you ate romaine lettuce all day, every day, and that's all you ever ate, like maybe something weird would happen, but nobody does that. So I honestly, I don't worry about it for 1 second. I've never seen a patient, I've been doing this 5, 6 years, walk in protein deficient. I've seen plenty of patients walk out much healthier.
That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, another one that I hear all the time is, well, what about calcium? If I'm not eating dairy products or plant or
Yeah.
animal-based products, where am I going to get calcium from?
Yeah, I'm glad we don't see my multiple fractures on the here with my cast. That's we only have half my body showing well. There actually are studies that show that plant-based diets are associated with improving bone health.
Hmm.
And of course, it's a very important, serious issue. And weight-bearing exercise is important in getting an appropriate amount of sunlight, so that you have your vitamin D, because that helps with calcium absorption. But there are multiple kinds of plant foods, particularly dark green leafy vegetables, bok
Yes.
choy, collard greens, kale, romaine, that have calcium, and also blackstrap molasses.
Hmm.
And there are literally lists that you can go online of high calcium foods that are plant based. So it's not something that's been a concern of mine. And actually, from the China study, they actually found that eating fewer animal based products, which of course includes dairy, was associated with better bone health. So I'm uh, I'm excited for the people who embrace or adopting this path for their bone health as well.
Awesome. So we don't have to worry about calcium.
No, do not. No, you do not. I mean, I guess there's like a couple of random outlier medical conditions that are extremely rare that you and your doctor could talk about. But outside of that, a blanket statement of not having to worry about calcium, I think, is very fair.
Okay. All right. So during our 10-day challenge, we've got a Facebook, we have a secret group or a private group that we share frustrations. We celebrate non-scale victories. Why is it important to have that support group?
That's so huge. It's so great you're doing that. And I think honestly, Dr. Ornish did great stuff with his studies, particularly in the late 80s, early 90s with the lifestyle heart study. And I think the secret sauce of his success is that he built communities.
Right.
And when you start to do this, it's different than the norm. Probably the overwhelming majority of your friends and family are not doing that. And it can sometimes be tough to
Yeah.
venture out on your own. So if you have like a posse or a group of people that can help you through this, like with, you know, whatever particular issue or struggle
Right.
you may have, or even just the validation of it,
Yeah.
I think is incredibly powerful. And it's fun sometimes just to go out to dinner with people who are like-minded in this way.
It is.
Um, so I think the social aspect of it is huge, and I think that leads to longer term compliance, greater health benefits, and also it's just socially great too. So I think it's beautiful.
Awesome. Okay. Well, would you share any other ideas that can help us to be successful in our 10-day challenges and hopefully because we have, newbies starting this, but we also have, some seasoned McDougalers, but we want people to continue, just not just 10 days, but make it a lifestyle. So what are some other ideas that we could be successful?
Yeah, so I would think about the various routines or possible things that could come up in your particular life that could get in the way.
Hmm.
And, of course, the issue of convenience and developing a routine. So you were talking about batch cooking. So
Right.
doing that, um, you know, finding a handful of recipes that
Right.
you like, that are easy, that you can go to, and that are quick and tasty. Thinking of finding a handful of new places that you like to go out and eat, that are nearby. And it can take looking at the menu a little bit differently. For example, because you don't want eating this way to disrupt your life. It should enhance your life. And so what I'll do is if I go into a restaurant and I didn't have any warning, I typically go to the sides or the salad section. And
Mm-hmm.
usually you can piece something together. Like I'll sometimes use mustard or raisins as a salad dressing.
Mm-hmm.
You can often get a baked potato or something steamed. And if you know ahead of time that you're going to a restaurant, you can call. Usually you got to give them like a day. And I call them like, hey, I'm that guy. And what can you, I'm like, what can you do for me? And usually they're like really receptive because they're tired of doing the exact same thing all the time. So it's, having a handful of new places where you may
Right.
want to go out and knowing then, okay, well, supermarket X is not really all that friendly to the way I'm living now, but supermarket Y is.
Right.
And so, okay, like, so now I know I'm going to drive home. I'm going to stop off at supermarket Y. I'll go home, set up breakfast tomorrow. Tomorrow day, I'm going to go eat at this new restaurant X with my new buddy from the social group
Right.
that I have from Facebook. And so you're sort of cultivating and building a new path. And you can, when you have that infrastructure, you can bring in lots of your friends and family and inform them
Right.
about it.
Right. Well, I've got a lot of resources on my website, starchqueens.net. I've got cooking videos, lectures, all kinds of educational series, to help people as well to transition. And like you said, getting those 5 or 6 recipes that are your go-to. Like my husband, his honey, what do you want me to make this weekend, for lunch this week? And he's like, Mexican lasagna. And I'm like, okay, this is week 17. I can make something else. No, I like
Yeah.
that. He's good.
Yeah.
For me, I like something different, but he's happy with Mexican lasagna every day. So, yeah,
Another thing that I would recommend, I think is helpful, is your resources and your information. It's phenomenal. But there is also the website, as you know well, nutritionfacts.org.
yes,
And
yes,
so the beauty of that is you can go on and search for basically any medical condition under the sun:
right,
gout, heart disease, high blood pressure,
right,
fill in the blank. And there's going to be a whole bunch of 4 to 5 minute videos that are about plant-based nutrition
right,
and that disease issue. They're referenced, so if you have a question, you can look it up. They're entertaining. And what it
yes,
does, it's like nice punches in the arm. Like, oh, is it really good for high blood pressure for you this way? So, oh, there's a 3 minute video I can watch all about
right,
why it's good. What about Crohn's disease? And so it's just a wonderful resource to
right.
keep you going in moments where you may want to learn more or feel a little weak about it.
Well, most of the plant-based doctors have lectures or interviews that are up there that you can find pretty much about anything. Like Neil Bernard focuses on diabetes, and Caldwell Esselstyn is on heart disease, and Dr. McDougall, I mean, on his website, he's got, he calls them McDougall moments, and he has them pretty much on every
Mm,
type of disease you could think of. But also, there's some great cooking apps. Or not, I shouldn't say, I mean, not cooking, but there's great cookbook apps. There's that
mm,
have, for $4.99, $4.99, you can get the McDougall app, or there's the Forks Over Knives app. And you have, like, let's say an eggplant and you need to find a recipe. So you type in eggplant and it'll come up with like 5 or 6 different recipes. So
perfect.
yeah, and then it helps to make a shopping list, and and sometimes it's connected to videos, how to actually cook these things. So yeah, there's phenomenal resources out there. You just gotta, get out on the internet, start searching. There's a lot to learn,
And
and I
once you
think,
scratch the surface,
yeah,
it's overwhelming how much
yeah,
awesome stuff is out there. You could
yeah.
lose yourself in this for years.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. There's lots of good lectures, lots of good things. So yeah, just get out there and educate yourself, because that's half the battle, is understanding and being able to explain it. So, oh, and I got to glow on
Yeah,
you for just 1 second, because like at Montefiore, you're making some changes there. You're doing you've got on the menu now plant-based options, correct?
yeah, that's been incredible. And like the backstory on that is, I round in the hospital about 8 weeks a year, and so I go in a patient's room, I tell them about plant-based nutrition, I leave, and 5 minutes later, chicken is served for dinner, and like I'm totally undercut. And
Right,
so we developed plant-based meals that you can now order for inpatients in the hospital, and it comes with a little handout, so some background, and also because
right.
I need more education than just that. The amazing documentary film Forks Over Knives plays on the inpatient TVs at Montefiore, and
How
so
awesome is that? That you can sit
it's
there and watch it. It's going through a loop 24/7.
exactly right. It's terrific. I go in the patient's room, mention it, we order the meals, and I outsource some of the education to Forks Over Knives. It's like I have my whole plant posse with me, and it's great.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's been really helpful.
yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, and one thing I forgot to ask you earlier on is, how is the your wellness program funded? Is that funded
Oh
through
yeah, well,
Montefiore, or
thank you. Yeah, the wellness program is funded exclusively through donations. And so, we're a nonprofit. So if someone is interested in donating, we certainly could use the resources. I'm trying to grow in all kinds of ways, but we are resource limited. So it is a tax deductible donation because we're a
right?
501c3. or 401, I forget the first number, but where it's tax deductible. But so that's how we're funded. The Saturday morning sessions are all free for patients. A lot of our educational work and other things are funded all from the program. And of course, if a patient comes and sees me in clinic, then it's whatever their
Insurance.
insurance does, or yeah, it's through that. That's how the Montefiore system works.
Okay. Well, send me. Is there a link that they can click on to donate?
Yeah, it's www.montefiore.org
Uh-huh.
slash cardiac wellness program. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
and then
I'll put it right below us.
there's in teeny tiny blue letters, kind of a quarter of the way down the page, it says support the program. And if you
Okay.
click on that, then it opens up into the donation page.
Oh, very nice.
So that's how
Okay.
it goes.
Because you're trying to do such amazing work, but you need that support from the community, to help,
Yeah.
because you're trying to grow it for low socioeconomic people to be able to change their health destiny. So yeah, it's an
One other
amazing
thing,
program that you're doing.
oh, thank you. And one other thing I wanted to mention is we have our very first preventive cardiology conference coming up
Hmm.
on October 27th, on Friday, October 27th, 2017, here at Montefiore.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be largely plant-based. And so Dr. Esselstyn will be speaking, Dr. Barnard will be speaking, Dr. Kim Williams will be speaking, Dr. Michelle McMacken will be speaking, I'll be speaking, Dr. Paul Richter of CRP inflammation fame will be speaking. So if people want to register, it's www.mecme.org,
Okay.
mecme.org, and you just find our conference, and then you can register on October 27th.
So is that open just for people who are cardiologists, or is this for everybody?
It's open to all of the above. It is a continuing education credit, so
Oh, very
uh,
nice.
but if the general public wants to come, they're extremely welcome as well. So it's open to everyone. You just have to
Excellent.
register.
Excellent. Excellent. And you also are presenting at the Chappaqua Library September 9th.
Yes, I'm very excited about that, and thank you for setting up the one earlier in the spring. And remember, it was that day after the crazy snowstorm, and
Yes,
you were so amazing getting people interested about it. That still like 60, 70 people came. It was
they did.
amazing.
They did.
Uh, I mean, literally, you couldn't even see the parking lot because
I
it was
know.
like bathed in snow. And
Yeah.
so, thank you for that. I'm really excited to come up
Yeah, there's
again
no
in
snow.
September.
There's no snow in the weather prediction
All right, good work.
For September, so we're good. We're good. So yeah, can't wait to see you. So thank you so much, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.